If you were a billionaire, what kind of extravagant thing would you want to buy? Billionaires are quite eccentric in their acquisitions, and it's super common for them to buy ridiculously expensive things, some of them even quite foolish. Therefore, in today's video, we are going to see some billionaires who bought extremely foolish or exceptionally exaggerated things. Saudi Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal bin Abdulaziz is already a well-known figure among the super rich. In 2023, he was among the 120 richest people in the world, and maybe you've even heard of him. After all, he was the prince who gave Neymar a ride on his private plane. But that's not what we're going to talk about, but rather one of the most peculiar cars he owns. While some Arab tycoons like to have luxurious cars, each in a different color, the prince here preferred to attract attention in a different way. He chose to encrust 300,000 diamonds on a Mercedes. It is certainly a flashy car, and the funniest thing is that this trend caught on, since later we had other rich people doing similar things to their cars. Art is a delicate subject after all. It is something extremely subjective, and that is a full plate for billionaires who love to acquire the most extravagant works of art they can find. And among so many options, the one that caught my attention the most was not a painting or a sculpture, but a real shark. But calm down, the shark is already dead and preserved in formaldehyde. We know that art can be very expensive, especially in the world of billionaires who are willing to pay absurd amounts. And in the end, the value of art depends more on how much the person is willing to pay. But even knowing that Steven Cohen is a major billionaire, and even being involved in several controversies in the financial and legal world, he continued to live a luxurious life and acquire works of art, and one of them was the said shark. He paid $12 million for the artwork. Since books have existed as we know them, they have been sources of knowledge, and one person who loves to exalt knowledge in reading is the billionaire Bill Gates. So it's not strange to think that he wanted the privilege of acquiring the most expensive book in the world. I'm talking about the Codex Leicester. This book is nothing more than a compilation of texts and illustrations by Leonardo da Vinci, which were collected in the early 1500s. Indeed, it is a hugely important historical artifact, and its value comes precisely from this historical importance. Therefore, this item is far from being a stupid thing bought by a billionaire, but definitely the value spent to acquire the codex was so absurd that it deserves to be included here. Bill Gates had to shell out about $291 million to become the holder of this historical work. But another thing that this item has that is better than the others is that it didn't stay with Bill Gates. That's right, despite having acquired this important historical work, Bill Gates constantly lends the work to be exhibited in museums around the world, having already been displayed in England, the United States, and Italy. Who here has never written their own name in the sand at the beach and left it there so that everyone who passed by would have the privilege of seeing that you had been there? This practice is quite common, but one person took it to a totally absurd level. I'm talking about the Arab Sheikh Hammad bin Hamdan al-Nahyan, who at 63 years old decided he wanted to write his name in the sand, but with a difference. It had to be big enough to be seen from space. The chosen location for this was a desert on Al-Futaizi Island, and several specialists were hired to finish this work of art. Art is a delicate subject, remember? From the beginning of the H to the last letter, the D, the name is 3 kilometers long, and Hammad can really be seen from space, and let's face it, it's a good thing he only chose to write his first name. And unlike the name we write on the beach, the waves did not erase what was written. On the contrary, the letters ended up becoming channels through which seawater entered. That tycoons like to live in huge houses, we know, but Mukesh Ambani may have gone a little overboard. After all, his house is an enormous building that was constructed between 2006 and 2010. If you are passing through Mumbai in India, you will come across the Antilia Tower and you will probably think it is some luxury tower, a 5-star hotel, perhaps a company, but you would never imagine that it is just the residence of one of the richest families in India. The construction of the building cost $1 billion, and it even entered the Book of Records for being the most expensive residential building in the world. We are talking about a building of 37,000 square meters, with 27 floors however, with several double floors, which makes the tower have the actual size of a 40-story building. The humble house also features 3 helipads, a garage that fits 168 cars, a cinema with capacity for 50 people, and even a private spa. This residence is so absurdly large that it operates with a staff of 600 employees to keep everything in order. If you already think it's an exaggeration for a shirt to cost $500, imagine one that costs almost $1 million. This time we are talking about the gold shirt that was custom-made exclusively for the Indian Datta Phuge. He hired 15 jewelers to make this personalized shirt, and the shirt weighed about 3.5 kilograms, made entirely of 22-karat gold and with buttons made of Swarovski crystals. The image of Datta Phuge wearing his peculiar gold shirt resonated across the internet in mid-2012. However, his story was not so happy, as the millionaire was murdered in 2016. How much would you pay to have a good conversation with your idol? If you haven't been shocked by the things we've seen so far, you definitely will be now. A Middle Eastern prince, whose identity was kept private, paid $500,000 to talk for 15 minutes with actress Kristen Stewart. But wait, I will explain this story properly. First, the money did not go directly to the actress, as she convinced the prince that she would talk to him for 15 minutes if he made a donation of $500,000 to a relief fund for victims of Hurricane Sandy, which hit the U.S. coast in 2012. And who am I to say how much a conversation with the actress is worth? But despite being a very peculiar thing, it's good to know that this huge amount of money went to a good cause. Do you remember NFTs? Actually, they are still around today, and there are even some projects that are doing well. However, when we talk about NFT, the first thing we remember are the digital arts that were bought for exorbitant prices and that anyone could copy, but only the buyer would be the official owner. And we had several celebrities who jumped on this bandwagon and simply never touched the subject again afterwards. However, there is one NFT from that time that surpassed all the others. Known as Every Day's The First 5,000 Days, it is a digital work of art that is basically a montage of various images. The NFT was sold for $360 million, and the buyer is a famous billionaire well known in the world of cryptocurrencies, Vignesh Sundarasan, but who became better known as Meta Kovan. One important thing to mention about this sale is that it was the first sale of an NFT at a reputable auction house, the Christie's auction house. The thing is, unlike a work of art where you literally pick up the work and take it home, for the NFT you only take the certificate that proves you are the owner of that digital art. The problem is that this story is much more complicated than just a foolish purchase, since both the artist who created the work and the buyer were interested in increasing the price of this specific NFT to draw attention and boost sales of a speculative asset related to 20 other works by the artist. But stepping away from the drama, if you want to see this incredible work of art, it is available in a digital museum in the metaverse. There are so many absurd purchases that we don't even know what to say. So, which of these do you think was the most stupid?
Hey, you like the video? So don't forget about leave your like and comment, and tell some suggestions of another videos, and hopefully we gonna do it. All about channel, deals to satisfy your curiosity.